Hey everyone, what's going on? Welcome to another episode of Hockey on the Spot with Brandon Barenfeld. I'm Brandon Barenfeld. Thank you for joining me. This is episode 53 of Hockey on the Spot, and we got some more preseason scores for you. 7 games last night, so let's jump right into it. Not wasting any time. Starting off with the Washington Capitals and the Boston Bruins in Boston. Big win for the Boston Bruins, 3-2 in overtime. Um, Boston goals coming from Zdeno Chara, who actually got 2 goals, both on the power play. First one assisted by Dennis Seidenberg and Jerome Iginla, and the second one assisted by Dennis Seidenberg and Milan Lucic. And then Chris Kelly would score the overtime winner, assisted by Matt Bartkowski and Riley Smith. And Tuukka Rask was pretty solid. 12 saves on just 14 shots, an .857 save percentage. So the Caps did not get a lot of shots in on goal. It was a game in which Boston just dominated in the shot category. And Zdeno Chara got the most of those shots, 5 shots for him. And for the Washington Capitals, they were just kind of lucky to get the 2 goals that they did get. The first one being for them coming on the power play from defenseman Connor Carrick, who they have a lot of high expectations for, assisted by Mikhail Grabovski and Troy Brouwer. If I'm correct, this is Mikhail Grabovski's first preseason game, or at least the first preseason game of which he has scored a point in a Washington Capitals uniform. So that's big for him. And then the second goal scored by Martin Erat, assisted by Nate Schmidt and Mikhail Grabovski. So a 2-assist performance by Mikhail Grabovski. And Braden Holtby really was the reason why Boston didn't go up higher, didn't win by much more. He actually played a fantastic game, even though he let up 3 goals. 35 saves on 38 shots. You know, he was bombarded with shots, and he was just absolutely tremendous in that game. A .921 save percentage. So Braden Holtby was fantastic. It was just unfortunate that the team in front of him really wasn't, other than Mikhail Grabovski, and therefore it led to the loss, and he couldn't make that final game-changing save. So congrats to the Boston Bruins. Next, the Minnesota Wild and the Columbus Blue Jackets, 2 teams that won't be seeing much of each other anymore. The Minnesota Wild come up with a big win, 2-1 in the shootout. Minnesota's goal coming from Keith Ballard, assisted by Jason Zucker and Justin Fontaine, but not before Columbus got their goal on the power play from James Wisniewski, assisted by Marian Gaborik and Jack Johnson. In the shootout, only one player would score. Jason Zucker would score the only shootout goal for the Minnesota Wild. And for overall. So congrats to him. And the goaltending was very good. Josh Harding played the entire game for Minnesota, making 20 saves on 21 shots and .952 save percentage. And Sergei Bobrovsky played the whole game for Columbus, making 26 saves on 27 shots and .963 save percentage. And he was the #1 star, even though he lost in the shootout. This night was all about the goaltending. Both goaltenders were brilliant, but Zucker's shootout goal was the difference. So congrats to the Minnesota Wild on the road in Columbus. Next, we have the Chicago Blackhawks and the Pittsburgh Penguins, a rematch from a couple nights ago. This game in Pittsburgh, and the Penguins just not letting the Hawks beat them. 3-2 the final in a shootout. Both Pittsburgh goals coming from Chris Letang. The first one, even strength unassisted, and the second one on the power play from Evgeny Malkin and James Neal. For the Chicago Blackhawks, both of their goals coming from Brian Bickle. The first one, short-handed goal, assisted by Brandon Peary and Johnny Oduya, and the second one on the power play, assisted by Jeremy Morin and Michael Koska. They actually had a 2-0 lead in the game before Chris Letang's 2 goals. In the shootout, Pittsburgh would score on both of their opportunities. James Neal and Sidney Crosby would get the shootout goals. The goaltending was actually rather solid for both teams. Nikolai Habibulin got the start in net for Chicago, and he was actually rather solid. Nikolai Habibulin, 31 saves and 33 shots, a .939 save percentage. He actually still has a little bit left. He does have a little bit left, and he'll be a good backup goaltender for Corey Crawford. Corey Crawford took the night off tonight. He didn't even get behind the bench. Antti Ranta was his backup goalie. And for the Pittsburgh Penguins, a night off for Marc-Andre Fleury. He was on the bench but did not play. Jeff Zatkoff, who is taking over as the backup goaltender right now with Thomas Vokoun out. And while the Pens try to get either Jose Theodore or Ilya Bryzgalov signed, Zatkoff comes in as the backup right now, but he was the starter last night. 30 saves on 32 shots, a .938 save percentage. So once again, another game in which the goaltending was brilliant, but the Pens just come out on top in the shootout. So congrats to the Pittsburgh Penguins. Next, the New Jersey Devils and the Montreal Canadiens in Montreal. Big win for the Montreal Canadiens at home. Their Montreal goals coming from Max Pacioretty, who got 2 goals, both on the power play. The first one assisted by Danny Briere and PK Subban, and the second one assisted by PK Subban and David Desharnais. And then in the third period, Ryan White of the fourth line getting it done on what was a very funny goal, assisted by Jared Tenorti and Francis Bouillon. Carey Price was very good. He made 19 saves on 21 shots, a .905 save percentage. So a big night indeed for the Montreal Canadiens. But Max Pacioretty was the star. Not only did he have 2 goals, but he also had 7 shots on goal. So he was absolutely brilliant. The New Jersey Devils, their goals coming from Michael Ryder, who scored unassisted, and that was a really funny goal. Michael Ryder scoring against his most recent former team. And Adam Larson would score the other goal, assisted by Dinas Zubris and Andy Green. Marty Brodeur would get the entire start in goal, making 22 saves on 25 shots and .880 save percentage. Marty Brodeur has not been very good in this preseason, and meanwhile, Corey Schneider has. Corey Schneider has still yet to give up a goal in his 2 starts. So it's leading to believe that Corey Schneider could potentially be the starting goaltender for the New Jersey Devils in the long run. Regardless, Marty Brodeur will most likely start opening night of the regular season, but in the end, I think it will be Corey Schneider who will be the full-time starter. Marty Brodeur's time is pretty much done. But again, congratulations to the Montreal Canadiens. Next, we have the New York Rangers and the Calgary Flames. The New York Rangers playing their first preseason action since last Tuesday against the Philadelphia Flyers. They had 5 days off, and they're back at it. And unfortunately, those 5 days of not playing really showed. It really showed the slug in their step. They end up losing a really embarrassing game to the Calgary Flames by a final score of 4-1 in Calgary. A game the Rangers, in my opinion, should have had. Calgary goals coming from Curtis Glencross, assisted by Matt Stajan and Dennis Weidman. Then Dennis Weidman would score a goal, assisted by Matt Stajan and TJ Gagliardi. Then Matt Stajan again would contribute, scoring a goal, assisted by Curtis Glencross and Lee Stempniak. A big night for Matt Stajan. And then Lance Boma would score an empty netter, assisted by Sean Monahan. So a big night for the Calgary Flames. And the goaltender, Kari Ramo, was brilliant. He faced a lot of shots, and he was brilliant. He was definitely one of the stars of the game, making 27 saves on just 28 shots, a .964 save percentage. So he was brilliant, as was Matt Stajan. And for the New York Rangers, Mark Stahl scoring the only goal for the Rangers on the power play, assisted by Jesper Fast and Marek Hrivik. So that would be the only scoring for the New York Rangers. Henrik Lundqvist would play the entire game. He made 24 saves on 27 shots and 889 save percentage. So he did play well, but not good enough for this team to win. And again, for a team that, in my opinion, will probably be the worst team in the National Hockey League, I will be surprised if they are anywhere higher than that. For them to even come up with this big of a win is just a real big shock. The New York Rangers will have a game tonight as well against the Edmonton Oilers. Next, congratulations to the Calgary Flames. Next, we have the Winnipeg Jets and the Edmonton Oilers. That was an interesting game, a low-scoring game that the Edmonton Oilers would win by a final score of 2-1 as they continue their hot streak in the preseason. Edmonton goals coming from Jesse Joensuu, who has been brilliant in the preseason, assisted by Tyler Pitlick and Philip Larson, and Will Acton would score the game winner, assisted by Anton Bailov. Devin Dubnyk would play the entire game, making 28 saves on 29 shots, a .966 save percentage. And for the Winnipeg Jets, Chris Thorburn would score their only goal, assisted by Adam Pardy. Ed Pascal would play the entire game, making 21 saves on 23 shots, a .913 save percentage. Congratulations to the Edmonton Oilers, who again will take on the New York Rangers tonight. And last but not least, the Phoenix Coyotes and the Vancouver Canucks in Vancouver. The Vancouver Canucks finally get themselves a preseason win and finally get a lot of goals on the board and not let up a lot as well. This is the defense-type team that John Tortorella wants to see in Vancouver. Blocking a lot of shots, not giving up a lot of goals, and in the process maybe chipping in a few goals to make them look more offensive than they really are. That is John Tortorella's system, and that's how he wants the Vancouver Canucks to play. That is exactly how they played against the Phoenix Coyotes last night. Goals, all Vancouver goals coming from Chris Higgins, assisted by Ryan Kessler. Then Yannick Hansen would score on the power play, assisted by Kevin Bieksa and Yannick Weber. Then Yannick Weber would score a goal, assisted by Alexander Burrows and Andrew Alberts. Then Mike Santorelli would score, assisted by the 2 first-round picks of the Vancouver Canucks this year, Hunter Shinkaruk and Bo Horvat. Then Big Tom Sestito would score, assisted by Bo Horvat and Alexander Edler. And last but not least, Jason Garrison would score, assisted by Henrik Sedin and Yannick Hansen. Daniel Sedin was left off the board. Henrik Sedin was left with just 1 assist. So not a big night for the Sedin twins, but for the lineup around them, it was a very big night. And Roberto Luongo was equally as fantastic. 21 saves on 22 shots, a .955 save percentage. So a big night for Roberto Luongo. And for the Phoenix Coyotes, their only goal coming from Martin Hansel on the power play, assisted by David Rundblad and Radim Verbata. So not a good night for the Phoenix Coyotes. Mike Smith would be on the bench but would get the night off. Thomas Greiss would start the entire game, and he did not look good. Only 28 saves on 34 shots, which is a lot of saves, but if you're facing that many shots, it doesn't look like a lot. An .824 save percentage. So not a good night for the backup goaltender in Phoenix, Thomas Greiss. And a big win for John Tortorella and the Vancouver Canucks. So congratulations to the Vancouver Canucks on finally getting a preseason win. Next, a few updates before we go. The Edmonton Oilers have claimed forward Steve McIntyre off waivers from the Pittsburgh Penguins. Steve McIntyre is a tough guy, and with Sam Gagner and Ryan Nugent-Hopkins out, they do need another tough guy. The Washington Capitals have signed defenseman Connor Carrick to a 3-year entry-level deal because of his tremendous play in the preseason. So congratulations for him, and he is a guy who, in my opinion, has a lot of high expectations. Jordan Tutu will miss the remainder of the preseason with a bruised shoulder. And he is one of the guys that the Detroit Red Wings are trying to trade because they are over the cap. Toronto Maple Leafs have officially signed forward Mason Raymond to a one-year contract worth $1 million. Big signing for them. He has been tremendous in the preseason. Well worth the contract. And with David Clarkson officially out for 10 games, and with Phil Kessel facing a possible suspension, they need him. The Florida Panthers have officially been sold and will remain in Florida. So that business is done. Rafi Torres of the San Jose Sharks will be out for 2 to 4 months with a torn ACL for that knee-on-knee hit with Anaheim Ducks forward Emerson Edom. It was not an intentional move by Rafi Torres. It was accidental. Both Zach Kassian and Dale Weiss will face suspensions. Dale Weiss will be suspended for 3 preseason games. And for Zach Kassian, he will be suspended for the rest of the preseason and 5 regular season games. And as I said before, David Clarkson will be suspended for 10 regular season games for leaving the bench on an illegal line change to join a fight. So they'll be without, the Toronto Maple Leafs will be without the top unrestricted free agent from last year's free agent pool. And again, Phil Kessel will face a hearing and for the possibility that he could get suspended as well. Another news, the New Jersey Devils have officially signed forward Damian Brunner to a 2-year contract worth $5 million. And this is a good signing for the New Jersey Devils. It truly is. And something that they do need. It is a signing that they do absolutely need. The Anaheim Ducks have signed first-round pick Shea Theodore to a 3-year entry-level deal. And that, to me, is a very good signing. They do need... He will be a big part of their future. He will be a very big part of their future. The Florida Panthers will hold the press conference officially announcing the sale of the team on Friday. Sam Gagner still looking for a team. He's expected to sign at some point in the regular season. He's waiting to hear from a few NHL teams. And head coach of the Buffalo Sabres, Ron Ralston, has been fined for player selection and team conduct in Sunday's NHL preseason brawl against the Maple Leafs. He put John Scott on the ice. So not a good move there. And that is all the updates for today, and that is it for today's episode. That'll do it for episode 53 of Hockey on the Spot. This has been Hockey on the Spot with Brandon Barenfeld. I'm Brandon Barenfeld. See you guys again tomorrow. Thank you, and have a great day.